Thank you, Bentley, Sam, and students for that laugh. So now let's get down to business. You have a sports show here at Media Crossroads. Can you talk a little about that?
Yeah, the show, it's a Triple OT podcast. I work with Evan Riggs, who also writes for the Kansan here, and we talk about all things NBA. So we do try and keep it, because we understand at KU, there's a big interest in college basketball. So we focus on prospects, we focus a lot on that, but mainly it's really the only show here that's exclusively on that, because it's something we both have an interest in.
Yeah, so when is the show? What time?
The show comes out, it is a podcast, so it comes up on Tuesdays, usually around 2, 3, somewhere in there, and it can be found at triple-ot.podomatic.com.
Okay, yeah, we will check that out. So let's get into KU basketball. Are there any updates on Perry Ellis's injury?
Well, right now, everyone I've talked to and all the things I've heard are that he's definitely going to be held out of the game against Oklahoma, but he probably will be there for the Big 12 tournament.
Yeah.
And I think they're holding him out of Oklahoma more, maybe not precautionary, because he does have an injury, but I don't think he'd be playing even if he was good to go. And I think you're going to see a similar thing with Frank Mason. I think they're going to try and limit his minutes. The guy's averaging, I think, 33.6 minutes per game this year, which is only one other player since 2009 has done that at the University of Kansas.
Wow.
So, the guy's obviously a workhorse. He's been doing a lot there. So I think you'll see those two rest a bit.
So do we know what happened to Perry's knee?
Yeah, it looked like he kind of got rolled up on by Landon Lucas in the last game. But again, I don't think it's anything too serious. And, I think if the tournament was coming up like Sunday or Monday, the NCAA tournament, I think he'd play.
Okay. Cool. So what is going on with Cliff's eligibility? What is happening?
Well, that's an interesting issue because, at first there was a lot of uncertainty. No one really was saying anything. The university was very quiet. But now it appears, and this is according to a Yahoo Sports report, that someone in Cliff's family, so not Cliff, but someone in the family, may have received impermissible benefits from an agent. So, that can range to anything. It can mean a lot of different things. There's a chance Cliff knows nothing about it. So everyone on the team is optimistic he'll actually be able to play again this year, and I think that's the goal, to get him back for the NCAA tournament. I think Bill Self just came out and said that they think they can get it going, because during football season that's the priority. During basketball season they have the priority as far as the NCAA is concerned.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Hopefully we can get him back, because we're gonna need him. So the Big 12 tournament starts next week. Do we know what our matchups are looking like yet?
Well, there are a couple of spots that are uncertain, but right now I think the most likely outcome is for Kansas to probably face Kansas State in its first game.
Really? Again?
Yeah, they're depending on the matchup, because the bottom teams all play each other.
Yeah.
But I think Kansas State would probably be the matchup there, and I think that's a good one for the Jayhawks, because obviously Kansas State got the win at home, but that's a hard place to play in. And I think if you asked anyone, including people around Kansas State, they would say that obviously the better team is the team that finished in first, rather than the team that finished in the bottom
11
four.
rings, actually.
Definitely. So, so I don't think it'll be a problem for them. I'm really just looking forward to seeing that potential final matchup. There are still a lot of teams that could get that too, and I think especially it'd be really fun if it was Iowa State at the end.
Yeah, that'd be very exciting. So when does March Madness start? Do you know?
I don't have the exact day. It's after the Big 12 tournament. You have Selection Sunday following that, which, that's going to be something that's awesome this year, because there are a lot of teams going for the 1 and the 2 seed that, normally you have your clear-cut 3 ones, and then there's that 4th one that you don't know. Well, this year there's about 5 or 6 teams that could all end up with a 1 seed.
Okay.
And I think the Jayhawks now are pretty much locked into a 2. But, they could surprise some people maybe if they win the Big 12 tournament and turn some heads.
Do you know whose side of the bracket we might be on?
Right now, what it looks like, according to Joe Lunardi, we'd be opposite Kentucky, so we'd be on the right side of the bracket. But, it really just depends, because it's all on that S curve, so, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then back the other way.
Okay, so I used to play girls basketball, so I cannot leave out the women's team.
Absolutely.
Do you know when their Big 12 starts and who their matchup is?
I think it gets started right away. I think it's this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. They play Kansas State as well in the first round. That last game in Allen Fieldhouse, it was one of the most attended game. I think it was the second most attended game of the year. It was a great matchup, and they have a little momentum, winning 2 games in a row now. So I think they expect to win that game, and if they can rattle off a couple victories in the tournament, they might find their way in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, hopefully they can do that, because I've been hearing that this is Bonnie's last year.
Nothing is for sure. There are certainly rumors of that. I've heard some of that same stuff. I think she's done a good job with this team. I think there have been a lot of results that have been really close. They played Baylor very close twice, and Baylor had a 25-game winning streak this year. So There were just kind of a lot of results that changed in the end, but that's kind of the way it is. It's results oriented. If a shot goes in, it's a great shot. If it misses, it's a bad shot.
Yeah. So before you go, we're going to play a little game called How Well Do You Know KU?
Absolutely.
So the first question is, who is Joel Embiid's celebrity crush? This one's hard.
Yeah, well, not really. I think he made it his Twitter picture for a bit, but that would have to be Rihanna.
Yes. And he's always like putting her in his jersey and like getting pretty real, apparently. So question number 2, who hosts Bible studies in Lawrence?
I would have to guess Christian Garrett on that, just based off Twitter again. So.
Yeah. So which player was recently named on Big 12 All-Academic Team?
The All-Academic Team. That is a good question. Man.
Did we stump you?
I think so. If I had to throw out a guess.
Just guess. Who looks like they're about their books?
I know Perry Ellis was a valedictorian, so I will
That's the
say
one.
him.
Yep.
All right.
So question number 4, who was the last team to win the Big 12 title before our 11 straight?
The last team before. So that would have been the 04-05 season, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I'm guessing on this one, but I'll throw out, it's one of the Oklahoma schools, I think.
Okay.
So I don't remember which one, though.
Well, actually, I don't know. So maybe I should know that before I ask the question, right?
Yeah.
But we're just going to skip over that part. Anyway,
Right.
Who did Bill Self say is the MVP of the season?
Oh, it's definitely Frank Mason, and I think that's an accurate description. Coaches have come in, Fred Hoiberg called him unbelievable. The head coach of UNLV, Mike Rice, said that he's actually on their scouting report twice. He was the first player and the last player. That's how good he's been this year.
Do you think he could potentially be Big 12 Player of the Year? Are we talking about that?
I don't know, just because, it's hard for a guy like that. His numbers aren't great because he gets tired because he's playing, 33 minutes a night, as we talked about. But he's definitely a guy who's been more valuable to his team, in my opinion, than any player in the Big 12.
Yeah. So what high school player has already committed to KU?
Carlton Bragg, and
Yes.
he almost accidentally committed to Kentucky.
I wish we had that vine because that was hilarious.
That was pretty funny.
I'm so excited to have him. Okay, last question. Which former KU player is an aspiring actor?
Wow, I have no idea on this one.
He had a movie
Oh,
here in Lawrence.
well, I know last year was Justin Wesley in the movie.
That's the one. And he was actually really good. Did you get to see it?
Yes, I did.
It was so good. I wish it would get on Netflix or something so I could see it again.
Definitely a great movie.
He's so good. Well, again, we want to thank Scott for coming out and talking to us. And actually, the women play K-State tonight at 6. So we're looking forward to that. And remember, the last regular season game for men is tomorrow against Oklahoma at Oklahoma on ESPN at 3 p.m. And if you need any plans for the weekend, stay tuned. TJ and Rosie are going to dish on all the events coming up in Lawrence.